Meeting of the East Hampton Town Council of order. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the Okay, before we jump to the agenda, I'd like to take this time to congratulate East Hampton girls basketball team on their tremendous win and taking in the home state championship. Great job. That may have a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, to move item 8C, discussion and possible action regarding Commission on Aging ordinance, adding alternate members, including establishing a public hearing date, to item 9C, due to that being new business.
Okay.
Second that.
A motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3, we have a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 14, 2023, as written.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, public remarks. Please come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and I keep your comments to 3 minutes per person.
Okay. Eric Rosenberg, 15 Bay Road, Chair of the Commission on Aging. Wanted to thank you for considering adding 2 alternates to our 7 regular members on the Commission on Aging, which I hope to, from that, to get more likelihood of quorum during tough times like July and August, more input, more thoughts from the commission, more ability to get volunteers to do projects, because we're now gearing up many more projects, and also a training grounds for new commission members to kind of understand what we're doing, and it will be at no cost to the town. Thank you very much for considering it.
Yes.
Thank you. What else? Hearing none. And item 5, no presentations. Item 6, bids and contracts.
If I may, if I could invite Jeremy to come up and run that through with you, Parks and Rec.
Good evening, everyone. As you would know, that we came back in front of you again with projects number 7 and 8 for Christopher Brook and Edgemere condominium, behind Edgemere condominium. To go out to bid for an RFP proposal for the watershed projects in that area. The new plan called for sort of a reduction, I guess, for the floating islands that we originally proposed for Christopher Brook. And it took out some live staking plants in the Edgemere location and added for an additional berm as an add-all in that location as well. Those bids we received 2 contractors that bid those projects, and the lowest bid came in from Command Construction for $31,447.50 for the base bid. And then adding the alternates, which we would like to go ahead and approve today, $51,147.50. This money will be coming from the 319 grant fund that we currently are working with from the state of Connecticut.
Mr. Chairman, since I sit on the Edgemere Board of Directors, I am going to exit. So that you can have your conversation and hopefully a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill. This time, does anyone have any questions for Jeremy on these proposals? Hey, hearing none.
Make a motion. Yeah.
Motion.
Sorry, go ahead.
You have a second on that?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you. Resolution business tonight? 8.
It would be longer if I was there talking.
Subcommittee reports. Anything new from water? Nothing yet? Any other subcommittee reports? Right. Okay. Hearing none. Item B, discussion and possible action regarding additional tax relief ordinance, including establishing a public hearing date.
Pursuant to the council's discussion at the previous meeting and the conversation you had that was had on your behalf with the Board of Finance, you have an ordinance in front of you now that would affect the changes you proposed. There was a minor change to the ordinance that was distributed yesterday, just to move one of the paragraphs for clarity's sake. Item E was moved up in that section. But it should do a few things for you, not only, of course, codify the age that you're proposing and the time limits, but it also specifically calls out the use of the of 129N of the statute, so that we know in the future that we've used it, and it makes it easier, as you all know, for any amendments that need to go in the future. I also wanted to point out to you, there was one item that I want the council to decide whether they want to keep it in. I had brackets in that one paragraph. I know you didn't want to index your $50,000 marker, but I don't also want us to have an inadvertent reduction in the number. So I had added language that basically said your number or what the state's modified number is, which gets changed every year, whichever is greater. It helps avoid a, like I said, a mistake of accidentally having our number be lower than what the state qualifier.
That makes sense in case it's not looked at for a couple of years, which I hope it's not. I hope it's kept up every year, but I understand. So we're not back in the same spot where
Right.
it's not helping anybody. And this did go get the recommendation to the Board of Finance last week.
Okay, so we have that. The next step is setting the public hearing date. If everyone's satisfied with what they see before them. Everyone okay with it? Just we recommend, time wise, we okay for a public hearing next meeting?
You are, yes.
Okay,
April 11th.
yes, we can set that. And have it during the normal meeting time.
That works out fine.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to set an ordinance date for Tuesday, April 11th, for special hearing for the ordinance number 2023.02, an ordinance regarding modification of tax relief programs.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to item D, discussion and possible action related to the ambulance services. So, after reviewing this, listen to the testimony of many residents. I feel the next step in this is, one, we need to set a special meeting. Is one thing, we need to have a discussion, so we can have some back and forth between the ambulance association and the council. The second thing is, if it's some along the lines, we want to proceed down this road where the town's gonna be a partner, then I think the ambulance association needs to meet us halfway in the fact that I would like to see 2 seats on that board, not liaison, but voting member seats, a council member and a member from the Board of Finance. So we have some skin in the game. We're not just handing money over without actually seeing where it's going. The second is during the meeting, we have the town attorney reviewing the contract, and we might have some language changes in there to safeguard the town as well. But that would all be done and set at the workshop, talked about. This is amenable. Let's amicable, I'm sorry. We'll set the meeting up with your chair, Mrs. Moore. We'll set a special meeting up, if date works for you, and we'll hash these items out.
I have one question. If you have 2 members from this council on their board, which I assume the board approves all contracts, why do you need someone from the finance?
No, I'm looking at one from council, one from finance, two members.
Oh,
I'm just trying to break it up, given a different set of eyes for different, not only the legislative body, but the people who actually count the meetings.
So, Mr. Chairman, those people, would, if they're not reelected, they would have to be changed.
Correct.
Okay.
Would you repeat that question?
If one of us was appointed and then not reelected, that position would have to be reappointed by the new council, whoever it may be at the time. So you always have an active member from council and finance on that committee.
Is there a member on the board of the directors for the fire department, or is there a board?
Pardon?
Is there a member on the board of directors for the fire department?
They're completely overseen by the town currently.
So there's no board?
No, there is. The board reports to the town.
Okay.
And so no matter what, there's already complete say and everything. This is our way of not having, or a good way to start up. The ambulance association not being completely controlled by the town was still have the ability to say and vote where money goes, decisions made, anything like
I
that.
get the concept, I just. Put it all together.
Yeah. Can we speak? This is sort of unusual that you.
It is, but it's an unusual situation.
Okay.
That's why I've asked you the
Over
question.
over the years, I mean, I was sat on the town council and was on the board, and, I certainly think that it was helpful to me being on the council in both, but I don't know that two people, I don't know that you achieve more, or I think one is great. That's just my opinion. I think it is helpful to have one, because then it works from both sides. But I'm not sure two is needed. We like to reach out in the community and get people that may not be doing other things, and that seems to be appropriate, and it seems to be helpful to bring in someone that isn't sitting on, different boards. That's just my opinion.
Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. Is there any other comments?
what if we had monthly reports via our member on the board? Why would we need another person for finance?
Well, I like the fact that we have two people on. So you have two opinions. And I just really want someone from finance. My original thought was have somebody from the finance department, but then that's putting stress on the town staff to do it. So I thought a member of the board of finance would do well. We've done this on multiple boards. With the liaison concept, but with this concept, because we're venturing to new ground, this is a separate private standalone entity. But also they're looking for taxpayer dollars, so that's why I want representation from the elected officials on this board. Who can actually have a say and vote. I think that's only fair to the public.
Certainly interested in the workshop, and this can be discussed.
Absolutely, so we'll get with Barb, we'll set a day up and we'll be a better format where we can sit them at a table and hash these things out. Okay, any more questions from the council?
I just got a few things I did again. My quick thing was, I've been doing some thinking about this, and obviously, as I started last meeting, the East Hampton Ambulance Association has been around for 70 years. And again, in my eyes, this is kind of the neighbors helping neighbors. And all these years, I don't believe you've asked for any money. I could be wrong, but I don't believe you have. And through the whole COVID thing, you guys worked, didn't you? A lot of people are staying at home or didn't work. You girls were out there doing what you had to do, and I do appreciate that. I lost my track here, hang on. And I guess what I was trying to say here for the money is, I guess the first time you came in and came to the council looking for money, I gotta tell you, I was a little upset. I guess I was more upset about how it went about, meaning, if I went and asked, the chief, can I have $3,000? And he's gonna ask me, what do you need $3,000 for, Tammy? And I guess that's why I was more upset. If you brought something more to the table at that time, I think that might have even went a little bit smoother than it did. Speaking for myself, not everybody else here, but I think it came in here and it was a little bit of a shock what was going on. And, we weren't aware of this. And this goes back a little bit. If we had some quarterly reports or monthly reports, we would be on the spot with this a little bit more, what's going on in that area. So I guess, and obviously we've lucked out through many years of having a good volunteers in the fire department and in the EMS type area here. And it's tough to get volunteers for anything. So I understand that we're gonna have to probably do something, and that's part of our job is to look out for this town and take care of our people in this town. And it goes back to a little bit of that neighbors helping neighbors. I'm a little bit forward, trying to keep this going because it's still a small town, even though it's grown a lot since I was a kid. And there's nothing better than having somebody show up when you're not feeling well and you kind of recognize that face. I do agree a little bit with Mark on if this does go forward, I think we should have at least someone from town council, as Mark spoke on that. I think it brings back some stuff, actually having some reports that we can touch base on and know where you guys stand. And what's going on and what's not going on and where the shortage is. That's kind of what I have. But I wanted to thank everybody also for doing a good job on this. Like I said, the COVID thing struck me the other day thinking, geez, there's so many people out there that weren't working and everything else, and you still were doing your jobs. So thank you for that.
Okay, any more discussion? All right, thank you. Item 9, new business. Consider action regarding police department policies and general orders. We have 6 of them before us tonight. Does anyone have any question on any of the above? No. Any questions for the chief on these? Hearing none, give a motion to approve.
I move that we approve general order 2.2, general order 6.1, 6.2, 6.8, 6.12, and 7.4.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, Belltown Garden Club gazebo planting plan.
Okay, yes, I'm speaking for the garden club. And just want to give you an overview of what's going on as far as replanting the garden around the gazebo. This spring, Department of Public Works is going to bring their machinery there and tear up all the old bushes and plants that are overgrown and overgrown on site. And then we're going to add topsoil around the garden or the area and rake it out completely. Then we're going to add mulch for neatness and to hold the topsoil down. Instead of planting it immediately in the middle of the summer where there's an issue with watering, we are going to rely on the professional designer to come up with plants that are drought tolerant, so to speak, and plant it later in the summer. And hopefully the rains come. For Old Home Day and the golf concerts, we are planning on putting window boxes around the top rail of the gazebo with annuals in them, which are easier to maintain, to add color and a little bit of character to the gazebo. And then again, later in the summer, the plants will come in and be planted.
Are these costs for this planting, are these all being absorbed by the garden club?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the only cost would be that
The back.
small use machine, not the removal.
And the same with the topsoils being absorbed and the mulch.
Very good. All right, thank you. Item C, discussion possible action regarding Commission on Aging ordinance adding 2 alternate position members.
As you sort of picked up as a request from the Commission on Aging, to add 2 alternate members to their commission. They don't have any currently, a handful of boards and commissions that have alternates. So basically, we sort of looked at that language and carried it over and made some modifications to the various requirements, but still trying to make sure that we divide among genders and make sure that the overall population is represented. So,
with this, we need to set a public hearing for the next meeting to do this.
yes, sir.
Okay, so we should do so. You're gonna be busy.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, while you're standing there, item 10, town manager's report.
Sure, let me just highlight 2 items that are on the town manager's report, the written version. Related to making various applications available on digital format. So planning and zoning and building and land use, they have been working for some time with the company that we use for inspection software to get that implemented. We think we've finally gotten over that hurdle, and we're now in beta testing, so to speak. We've invited a couple of regular users of the department to begin submitting and paying for permit applications that way in a completely remote way. Additionally, the fire marshal, who's been doing a sort of an online version of the permits for burn permits, we've now created a form where it's 100% online. Nobody has to print anything. There was always this sort of irritating aspect of that where the document needed to be printed and then turned in electronically. So we've created a possibility for that to be done entirely online. We'll figure out a way to implement that actual activity at the desk here at building and land use where the fire marshal's office is. So just a couple of things that we're finally getting at and getting implemented to make another way for people to interact with the town and not have to do it by coming in during our hours. So those are 2 things. Otherwise, if there's questions on things that are on the item, I'll take them.
Does anyone have any questions for David at this time?
Oh, is there any update on the private road entrance town hall?
The entranceway, I assume you mean the pothole issue?
Well, correct, because at the last meeting,
Right.
we said we were withholding any maintenance fees.
Yep, right.
So it's either turned over or fixed.
Yeah, correct. So he's done some work there, just to fill. He and I did talk a little bit today about a plate, mainly because he called me and told me that his plan, which has been discussed with Public Works, is to do, and I think I referenced this before, do an underground drain there because he has an underground water problem there. He has a subsurface water problem there. So when plants are back open fully, he anticipates that by the end of April, he'll have dug that out and replaced and put in the drainage that he wants to put in, repaired that, and actually he told me today that he intends to pave that section, final pave that section to a point, I guess that would be east of the entrance or the driveway continuation to the town hall. So that would be all one finish line. So that's the update.
Thank you.
What about the toucher truck? Did that event go on?
It did go on. As I understand, it went well. Chief stopped by and his thumb is up. It went well.
Thank you, David. Appointments.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jonathan Searles to Clean Energy Task Force and David May to EDC.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moved. Tax refunds. I didn't see any in the packet. Did I miss that or there are?
None this evening.
None this evening. Okay. Brings us to public remarks. If you have anything, please step up to the mic, take your name and address and keep your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none. With communication and correspondence, I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
There's, I'm making, right.
Kevin, we got your window.
We got your window.